The Punisher does not play.
NERDSoul.
Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta, holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, we coming with another wonderful episode of On Screen. Today is this very special day because we are breaking down and reviewing and talking about my favorite things when it comes to The Punisher. And this is Marvel and Netflix's, I believe, 4th series or 5th series together. And if you didn't know much about The Punisher, you might want to go back to Daredevil season 2, catch up on a little bit of his attitude and his background and everything before you jump into this. But it is not necessary because this season stands very strong on its own alone. And there's tons of stuff to get into this season when it comes to like the characters, the plot developments, just the situations around Frank Castle. But I think the first thing I'll start off with, of course, is the character, of course, of Frank Castle, who is just brought together and brought to life so well by these writers, Jon Bernthal, the direction that really creates a feeling, an atmosphere of a broken man. Like this man that just, he seems almost like he's drowning at all times, but almost to the point where he's been drowning so long that he likes it. And dealing with the situation of hopelessness and loss and PTSD, there is so much swirling around his world that he still finds a way to sort of be a hero, sort of stand up for people while carrying so much on his shoulders. And that means a lot to me when I'm watching it because it helps draw me in. And that's something that this series does a lot of, which is draw you in. This series is a very slow burn, but it's not boring at all. Because even though you have a starring character in The Punisher and Jon Bernthal and, Frank Castle, you have like Agent Madani, you have Billy, you have so many people surrounding him, the other servicemen and Marines that have served before him. There is just so much going on from the government perspective that we'll also get to that I think makes this great. But I guess on his side, on the flip side, you have another character called Micro, which kind of seeks him out and ends up almost working side by side with him for most of this season. And it's very gripping to see two of these broken men who have been broken by the same organization trying to find a way to heal each other and also reunite Micro with his family. And there's just so much inside of their interactions, so much emotion directed towards each other, directed towards the outside world, and also that feeling of hopelessness that surrounds them both. But there is kind of this light at the end of the tunnel that even Frank Castle is trying to help Micro get to with this reconnection of his family. And when you have a situation like that with both of these guys who have kind of a shared trauma, it's great acting, it's great writing, and I think there is a lot to gain from watching these two together. And even besides those two, and besides the family of the Liebermans, you have Madani and you have Homeland Security, who really drives home this feel of just the government, their red tape, the bureaucracy, I guess you could say the corruption, and just the muck that kind of grinds the gears of the large machine of, the government, the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security, NYPD, because they're in New York at the time. It's just so much that's swirling around and getting in the way of one of the largest concepts of this show, which is justice. And I think that we get to see a very interesting side or sides and opinions on justice and what justice is. For instance, we already kind of know what Frank Castle sees as justice. But you get to see what Micro wants. Micro is really just trying to get back to his family. And you get to see someone like Madani, who is a character that I really grew to like, but a situation from hers is kind of skewed when it comes to justice because she's so self-righteous when it comes to applying that justice. And it's these interpersonal relationships with justice, and on the Marine side with the PTSD, which I'll get to in a second, is what makes this so great and so complicated, and probably one of the best Marvel series that I've seen in a while. Like, this is very layered, very complex, and none of the characters are flat or one-dimensional. For instance, when we deal with the Marines and you have like this, I guess, roundtable discussion, it's kind of like AA, but they're talking about their experiences in the military, how it was to come home, how it was to be there, and even the actors that just play the basic around the round table characters, they even feel very lived in. This world feels very lived in. And it's just the reality that they bring to those characters. And even to someone like Billy, who is kind of at odds because he ends up sort of betraying his brother that he served like 8 years with in Frank Castle, you can kind of sympathize with him as well. You can see kind of why he went dirty. And there's just so much with the characters that I really enjoyed. And lastly, I'll touch on the Liebermans. Of course, Micro, who is David, is assumed dead. And Sarah's just trying to pick up the pieces, trying to figure out how to raise these kids inside of trauma that she's dealing with, inside of the family trauma, and their kind of individual trauma that they're both experiencing, because the daughter is experiencing different than the son. And, they're dealing with issues at school and kind of just breaking down. And even she, in another way than Frank Castle is just feeling like she's drowning. And you get to know these people and you get to pull for these people. Like, you want things to work out for them. And I think that's something that this show does at an apex level, with the writing, with the direction. The way this is done is just A+ filmmaking on just small screen or big screen. This show works. Now, I want to get to some of the plot details and all of that good stuff to really spoil this up. But first, of course, KUROBrand going to help us pay them bills. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Check those shirts out at the link below on KUROBrand. If you like what you see, cop yourself a tee. So let's get to the nitty gritty of what I think is at the heart of The Punisher, which is just dealing with trauma, dealing with PTSD on different levels, dealing with terrorism, and dealing with justice. And I think this show moves along at a slow pace, but a very intentional pace. And it fills the characters out very well when you deal with situations of terrorism, like the hotel, like the bombing at the government building, and just seeing how the media reacts, seeing how the police level reacts, seeing how Homeland Security reacts. There's never just a one-sided view on this show. And I think the way the plot moves along, the way the plot explains and surrounds situations helps that just become real for us. Just like the young man who ends up turning to terrorism, finding out that the fake Marine had tricked him, he kind of ended up feeling, I guess, backed into a corner, to the point where he ended up killing the man and, of course, becoming a terrorist, kind of almost embodying what he wanted to fight against, but in lieu to be able to fight for. And that's something that happens in real life. And I think the the way this is written, the way they revealed that, the way they drove him to that point, you know, seeing him at the meeting, seeing him dig that foxhole, seeing him slowly have breakdown conversations and not really working with Kurt. And it just, you saw him devolve. And I think the way they plotted that along was very well done. I also like the slow reveal through the memories like memories of his wife, memories of his time in the service, that really helped set the stage of like Rollins, Billy, and showed exactly how the military had shaped him for better or for worse. Because of course his experiences helped him become sort of the hero, unfortunately, he is today. And revealing the way the plot reveals those memories, reveals the death of his family, reveals the interrogation and torture over in Kandahar. It just really works well for this show. And I think plot details like Madani and how she had been trying so hard to make this case work. So hard that she put her own people in danger is what makes this show just so enthralling, so gripping, and just so enticing that I'm very interested and I'm very excited to see what you guys are thinking down below, because I'm ready to watch this show again. Say give it a little time and then watch Daredevil season 2 and then watch this and just kind of experience his experiences once again. But guys, of course, I love this show. Should you watch it? If you're into, matter of fact, if you're not even into superheroes, because there's no capes in this one, I think you could get a lot from The Punisher. I mean, there's action that will knock your socks off. I mean, bone crushing, blood, craziness going on. But at the same time, there's a story that matters to the characters and a story that matters to you, because every actor is giving it their all in this piece. They are really selling it. So guys, holla at me, I'ma holla at you. Down in them comments, let's talk about The Punisher. I am psyched. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do to weave him into, say, Jessica Jones, or, you know, the next Daredevil, or, you know, Iron Fist or whatever. And I'm not super psyched for Iron Fist, but we'll see what happens. Or even him meeting up with Luke Cage, because Luke Cage and Punisher are both, I think they have similar codes, except that Punisher, when he puts you down, you go down. So anyway, guys, I gotta tell you guys to hit up thatnerdsoul.com. That's right, check me out right there. All my videos for the oldest, newest, latest, greatest, and all that. Then hit up shop.thatnerdsoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player, and don't forget to get one for them playettes. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. That's right, there's no better way that I can show people that you like what you are watching. And of course, LA what up, VA what up, RVA, you got my heart. So please be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and remember, yo, the Punisher don't play no games. Peace.